Okay, it is 5 after 10, and I will call the Lewes Board of Public Works Finance Committee meeting of March 13, 2026 to order. Welcome, everyone. The attendees are myself, Bob Heffernan, Robin Davis, Kimberly Belair, Mike Hogan, Calvin Jaber, Carolyn Jones. We do have a quorum, and the first item is the review of the Finance Committee minutes from February 20th.
I do have some changes. I already noted them with Chris, so she has a copy of this already.
Oh.
On page 1, under number 4, the last paragraph about the cost of service study, it says that Kim Belair confirmed that estimates were used as placeholders pending. I would like to change that to confirm that prices received from one bid were used as placeholders.
Prices?
How much was that?
Does that reflect what happened at the meeting?
Yeah, I want to say that it was altogether about $50,000. I can't remember the breakdown of each. And then to finish that sentence, placeholders pending remaining bid results.
Oh, take out pending.
It'll be pending remaining bid results
Oh,
because we're going to get more bids, hopefully.
all right. I got you.
I think there were one or two things in here that were attributed. Are you done?
Nope.
Oh, then I'll stop. So
You got a hole on there.
here, I gotta go to bed for one. Done.
For the industrial rate adjustment,
Yeah.
I added electric before industrial rate. Make sure everyone knows that we're talking about electric. For wastewater Sussex County flow agreement right after, it put a $sign before 81.2%. So we're getting rid of that. And
It's not $81.
and then I
81%, or is it
8.12?
81.2%. Yeah.
Oh, 81.2.
8.12.
81.
81.2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Percent.
Yes. Almost double.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Just take off the dollar
Okay.
sign and
Yeah.
it'll be good.
And then I put a period after fiscal year 2027 for that first, the second line before with the CPI. And then I added starting in
Wait a minute, give me that last fiscal year one. Where was that?
the second line.
the 8.
Yeah.
Oh, I see, okay.
I put a period there and then I reworded it of starting in 2028. The rate will increase yearly by CPIU. The current rate is $5.31 per 1,000 gallons.
There you go.
The next one is in stormwater rate increase, 2 paragraphs down. Instead of would go negative, I put was negative for that year. And then it says fiscal year 2026. Right after that, it should be 2027. And then
Before you go down there, this whole presentation here is
We've changed it.
it makes no sense to me. That numbers don't add up. So you changed it?
The format, I thought you were talking about the format.
No.
Okay.
No.
Are you talking about
Stormwater rate, right?
yeah, yep.
I mean, because you say the current projected increase has been $3 for residential, 9 for commercial, 15. And then you said that monthly bills were gonna go from $10.50 to $11.50. I mean, $3 increase. $10.50.
That's yearly.
What's the other?
That 3, 9, and 15, and 12, 24, and 48.
It's a yearly increase?
Yes. And then we broke it down further for monthly of what the customers would see on their bill.
Which is the 1050.
Yeah.
What do you mean
10.50
yearly?
to 11.50.
Maybe you should put yearly in front of that or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
To
Okay.
clarify that.
So you're saying $3 yearly increase?
Yes.
And there's a quarterly.
Well, they go from yearly to monthly.
Yes.
So, but the annual wasn't specified on there, so it might be a little
Yes.
confusing.
Okay, so
So the three-
there's
That's
a
why.
one-time yearly charge for $3 and then,
No, it is billed monthly, but when we put it in the model, I do it by the year increase, the annual increase, not the monthly increase. So it was originally modeled $3, $9, and $15 increases annually
Oh, that's the annual.
based on the rate projections we already have done.
so it's something. Reconcile, I'm not reconciling my head. Sorry. This makes sense? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sure what's going on.
Well, then it's some stuff and you get it. Do it again.
So
I mean,
that we have a rate projection already done for 2027, and it was a $3 increase for residential yearly, $9 increase for commercial yearly, and $15 for industrial
Okay.
yearly.
you just put yearly as the current projected.
All right.
So then, once I put those numbers in, I saw that cash flow was negative for 2027. And I wanted to see what we needed to be at for a yearly increase for it to be at least neutral, which was 12, 24, and 48
So you had increase it from $3 to $12 for
annual.
and
Yep.
And that's why you get the $1, which is not okay.
Yeah.
Oh, not good. Thank you.
See, told you. Hang in there, baby.
And I would look at this thing is I couldn't get there.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens. You just have to roll back and start again.
So
really
that'll be
close.
another add of annual and monthly.
Even the words on a piece of paper and the race, they don't make sense.
It's good to double check and make
Sometimes
sure
the
that we're
words don't
on the
match.
same page.
We know that.
Next, it says Mike Hogan raised the point of the rate differential. It was actually Bob.
Bob Hogan?
No, no.
How about that?
Um,
Are you AIing these? Is that where these?
yes, yeah.
I was thinking,
If that-
there are two things on here. I'm sure were
See, that's-
Bob and not me, but my name's showing up.
Yeah.
So
That's what AI does.
Bob, you're fortunate.
Yeah.
You sound like me, but
I'll take it.
So where am I?
About halfway down the page. Where it says,
It's okay.
Yeah, no, right there. That's why she was changing that name. Sorry.
Thank you. No, that's good.
and then the second to last paragraph, budget document and reporting framework transition.
Mm-hmm.
The third line down, it says, the framework Kim Belair has developed. I want to add Mike Hogan in there. Kim Belair and Mike Hogan have developed.
That's not your credit here, baby.
And lastly, board education on the next page.
another Bob Heffern.
I wanted to cross out must be brought up to speed because we are leaving it up to them to come in to get the education, which two of them already have and press is scheduled, so they are getting it.
Must.
It says, Hogan, Heffernan, and others
Mm-hmm.
emphasize strongly that the board must be brought up to speed.
Okay.
Just be strongly that the board be brought up to speed on the framework.
Okay.
Can I go back to the clarification on both?
Oh, I already scratched that out.
Wonder I could be found.
Where are you going?
The budget document and reporting during the transition. I stay here with the full base budget presentation. To the cash flow basis. You're still gonna do regular accrual financing statements. on a
Yes.
quarterly basis, right?
Yes. So our financial statements will obviously be in,
Regular.
yep.
Okay.
And the government standards
Okay.
for our audit.
Yes.
And then this is showing the cash flow to do more projections of if we actually have the money to do these things.
Yeah, just to be clear, the auditor, I'm gonna sound like a broken record. Accounting is sort of history,
I understand.
and the auditor will do the typical statements, including a cash flow statement. That is one of their.
Right.
But when we chose to do the forecasting, the budgeting, we have to choose what structure we're going to use, and we decided to use cash flow for a lot of reasons here.
But I just want to make sure that for what was presented, you're still going to do the full standard income statement.
Yep.
Balance sheet.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your standard.
One would hope.
We are not gonna go out of our principles and requirements.
Clear on that.
In fact, Bob, just to be clear, we actually use the auditing statements, the first pages in our package here, the audited numbers to see how the model lines up with them. So it all copacetic.
That's what I have.
Well, one more thing on that board education, I think this is another, Bob Heffernan comment. If Mike Hogan suggested the group session, given the quorum rules, I'm not flagging any quorum rules with the FOIA or any of that stuff. So
Okay.
that's possibly Bob.
I don't think so.
It wasn't you either. Maybe that was,
No, I wouldn't think that.
Richard.
No, it was Bob.
Was it Bob?
Yeah.
I remember.
Go with it.
All I can say, it wasn't me.
Okay.
You just own.
Apparently you guys sound similar.
Yeah,
I want to know if AI is saving any time.
Well, it's a
yeah,
whole different model.
yeah.
You know? Oh, yeah? It's,
Minutes take.
11 minutes into the meeting.
Take a lot, usually if you do them by hand, at
11
least
minutes.
8 hours. 8 hours, Bob.
11 minutes into the meeting for, you know, 11 people.
Well, I think next time what we'll do is, after we generate them, maybe have Kim review it before,
Yeah.
and then that way we can submit that to you guys and then. it
Which I
should be a
usually
little bit
do.
later.
Yeah, because you can't go back to. the
But it's
other
budget
pay,
season.
right?
It was too
Yeah.
hectic.
Yeah, I usually do review it before, but I just didn't get to them before they went out.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
So you'd like somebody to make a motion to
Oh, right, do it.
approve the minutes as amended with Ken's comments and others. That's it.
I'll
Yeah.
second, we just did it.
Okay. Any discussion?
We just had it.
All in favor?
Aye, we covered it all.
Any against?
Calvin, you holding out?
I was just wondering what the results from your audit for the PCA audit was. What the results? That,
It's-
like that part of that?
Yes, it is.
You see that on the agenda, that's it.
Okay.
Okay, so
Matt?
number 4, review changes to the forecasting, documentation, etc.
All right, which
Okay.
one is that?
So I have notes of budget change, and then that was sent out in the packet. But I also added another page of added after the document share.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
really?
So I printed out this notes. What about the
I
next?
have this one.
Yes.
Sorry, number
Uh,
4. Oh, is that the page I need?
Yeah.
It's got, it's got,
You were looking at
Oh, okay. I'll
older
take this
than
one.
the whole
Get rid of mine.
I think this
printed
is
from
last.
What was on the, what was the,
That was the last
All
one.
right, I got you. I got you. Thank you.
Mhm.
no, this was the agenda for this meeting.
That was for February. Yeah,
It's on the website.
that's for February.
Okay.
Okay. So I was able to discuss with GMB and the city of Lewes concerning the capital projects. GMB did suggest some changes to some timing of doing smaller amounts for the first year and larger amounts for the second year for items that were getting funding, because it takes about half the year to secure everything. And so the project doesn't really get started until halfway through. We changed some length of time for projects for pump stations, changing from 1 year to 2 years, and Harborview and Third Street from 2 years to 3 years. And then we also got a quote for the 24 gate replacement, and that changed to 38,500. It originally was in there for 25,000. I updated all the January information to be in the document, so we're only estimating February and March for our fiscal year 26. So that updates 2027's averages and projections. The PCA base, when I audit that, there were 2 small increases in fiscal year 23 and 24, and that base was not changed for that difference in the increase,
Mhm.
which resulted in, I know it doesn't sound a lot, but
Yeah.
1/11 of a penny. But when you're selling millions of kilowatts, it does
But
accumulate.
aren't those two numbers the same on that line? What's the
You're
difference between
saying-
that number and that number?
You're saying.
It is that the base was
Too low.
1/11 of a penny too low, which results in that we're charging the customer
Okay.
1/11 of a penny too much.
It's not a
PCA,
change, it's just.
Yeah. just a further clarification.
Right.
And
I
stormwater fees.
understand you, thank you.
Yeah. I like it. I like the backup. The stormwater fees, I actually changed that back down, and we're gonna talk about this later. But, the stormwater fees, I originally had that 3, 9, and 15, and then I started talking about the 12, 24, and 48.
Mhm,
Remember from the minutes?
mhm.
I changed that to 3, 6, and 12 for annual increases. Our tariff says that our commercial rate is 2 times our residential and our industrial is 4 times our residential. So that original rate track increase was not in compliance with our tariff.
Oh, I see.
So this is corrected to
Did
be
align with.
in line with our tariff.
I understand.
And that gets us in the black essentially, or
Yes.
profitable in the stormwater line.
Yes.
Mhm, okay.
And there were a couple of expenses that were added. We added $16,500 to stormwater for our maintenance management software. It's a $6,500 yearly fee, and we put in 10,000 for the accounting software integration. We're hoping it doesn't come close to that, but
Just the best guess, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go back. You said that the 3, 9, and 12, well, 15 the last time, right?
3, 9, and 15.
And then you
Was
changed
what
to
was
3,
on there.
6, and 12?
Yes,
And how does that get us in, does that keep us in the black?
we're gonna talk about it after I get these notes. We're going in the model, Calvin. Yeah.
Right, because it's,
Yeah.
because it, as I recall, it was in the red going
Mm-hmm.
forward, and this brought us to, but now you're reducing it.
Yes, because we moved money from the Fulton operating account into the reserves. So now the reserves are pulling less money from stormwater. We're gonna get into it, Calvin.
It's a
You
miracle.
wait.
Pay attention.
Yeah. And we also added a project manager for half the year to admin expenses, as you can see that we have so many projects. I reduced the amount in the operations account. I did do $1.5 million in the operations account. That was the lowest suggested, so I wanted to see what that actually looked like, and we can play with it once we get to the talking point number 5.
I understand back on project manager.
Mm-hmm.
Robin, Sharon, why are we adding a project manager?
There's always been discussion, even in the past, whether we needed an engineer or project manager. Project manager is going to be taking some of the relief from me and Sharon, that we review all the plans for projects, kind of monitoring them as they go to make sure all the documents are taken care of. So it's
Yeah.
taking stuff off of more of me and Sharon. what
And
we're
we
doing.
don't intend on rehiring an executive assistant.
Yes.
So you actually said.
Got AI now.
Oh, yeah.
But so that's a full-time position.
It's going to be,
Just-
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the time you get it done, it's gonna be,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
They're-
budgeted half this year, and then it will be a full-time position.
But it's in a position where you're budgeting half a year to determine whether you really need it at the end, right? It's not a.
We don't
It's not a-
anticipate hiring them,
Excuse
going
me?
through the process for at least 6 months. So that's why we were only budgeting for half a year.
By the
It's
time
a
we get.
position you're seriously thinking about keeping. though.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yes,
correct.
yes. We get more and more projects
Yeah.
every day.
Okay, no, I just wondered
Yeah.
if it was a temporary position.
She is the financial assistant.
Okay, thank you.
And that 1.5 million for the operations. And once we get to talking point number 5, we can move that around, but we're also gonna move it around before then. After I shared the documents, these are things that happened For electric, I revised, the drawbridge overhead decommissioning to 14,250 because we actually got invoiced. We
Oh, I
originally
see. And it was
But in
budgeted.
20,000.
Mhm.
We changed the timing for AMI to push that back later. Because we are not probably gonna go out to bid until June.
To bid, I think is September.
Oh, God, September.
But it's being pushed because we are hiring a consultant to help us with the RFP process, and they gave us that timeline.
So September is 26.
And I also added a new admin project for a new front window. It needs to be done.
Was
Is
that
that two
admin?
tasks?
The window.
There's a new front window.
The front window, that
Oh,
window right there, it
front
needs to be redone.
Oh, I see. Okay.
When you first walk into the lobby.
Where Suzanne sits, the sliding window.
Yeah.
Oh, that,
Oh,
oh,
it
okay.
just needs to be redone.
Oh, all right.
Oh, wow.
So it is,
Yes,
yes, okay.
When you're bulletproofing it or?
that is
Yeah,
the plan.
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Is that
Must
right?
be
Yes,
bulletproof.
we are.
Do you have people that come in irate sometimes? Oh, I guess you never know. No, I'm serious. It was just-
Let me tell you something. When I was director of HR at the Smithsonian, under my desk was a button to push
Oh, geez.
because of people.
Yeah, we do have that.
They
Yeah.
came in the front door and they had a long way to get to me, but I had a button
Mhm.
before they even got there besides the
I
folks.
think how much nicer the Smithsonian would be if they didn't let people in.
But you do them now.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they do.
I haven't been
They've done
down there for a
years.
while.
They've done that for years.
You gotta have protection.
I am a dinner for 20 years.
You have to have no gun signs,
They're
We
up-
actually
they're
do
up-
already have them.
okay.
Oh, you do?
And are they at all of the ingress points of the whole building, including?
The ones that customers have the opportunity to come in, I think, yes, they're all, and they've been put up for several years now. I think the city did that through the police department.
Okay.
Yeah, there's signs that says no firearms in the building and blah, blah.
I have 3 guys working on my construction project that are all carrying.
Oh, really?
You can't really tell until they bend over or something and you kind of like, really?
Yeah, that's real common.
I know, I didn't realize that.
I didn't
I
either.
really didn't. They're subtle, but they're look like pretty big guns. I'm not a gun guy, but.
Me either. Enough to be uncomfortable.
Why would they do that coming to residential property?
I don't know.
Well,
You'll have
let's
to ask
just,
them.
I haven't
I
had
think they
any
just
of
walk
them,
around like
so
that.
you
I
could
think
have
it's just
the,
part of their, like put the bell on.
It's their everyday.
Yeah, it's their everyday.
And some other changes that I made, I added the dump truck for water wastewater for $150,000. $20,000 for a trench box and mud pumps. And I changed the Alaska Avenue timing for wastewater that we're only gonna get a little bit done this year and it'll be finished at the beginning of next fiscal year. So.
got good things going.
May I have
So
one?
is the stormwater ad the same bullet as the electric
Yes,
admin ad?
so it gets split to all 4 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not 4 different things, it's just one. All right.
I want to make one comment on something that Kim spoke about, which is adjusting one number in the model can sometimes have an impact in another place in the model. One of the advantages of having a complete system is when you click it in one area, it kind of ripples through to everything else. If you do everything, if everything's an isolated thing, you're never going to see that process.
You got that right.
So what are you doing now? Bring up the budget model?
Yep.
She's bringing this up.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna refer my old ones.
Hello?
Here's which paper to look at.
The framework,
Let's put this over.
the big packet I gave you, you sat in the chair next to you.
Oh, thank you. I have a lot of big things.
Is there a new one?
I'm gonna stand here and say this one.
Wait,
Alan?
I emailed it to you this morning, but I have more on the printer if you want.
I'll run up there.
Yeah.
They should be done now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you.
Yeah, you should have, you have a copy of the new one.
Can you make it readable?
I also have one more.
Take away the $1,000?
We'll see how.
Take away all that 44.
No, she did a.
Oh, look at the size of
cash
this
flow
one.
move to a reserve account. though.
I'm rolling, baby.
But she'll talk about that, I'm
Something
sure.
like a reed.
I would like to
Sometimes
keep
they put
it,
them upside down on the back sheets.
Yeah, I know.
So you really go.
I'm rolling.
I would like to
man.
keep it this way, but I can, do a presentation.
Well,
Nice.
I'll say for the
Got
board.
you. I think
Kim, you're gonna have
I
to.
mean, I got
Well,
that
yeah, look,
morning and I immediately
Seeing it,
started
you're
drinking an extra 52 spreadsheets, 51
I can't
spreadsheets.
see all of it.
So I could divide by 1,000 and read it.
So Bob is asking for a presentation that it cuts down to the thousands that you lose those last three, so the numbers are larger for him to view and easier to pick out larger.
The problem was there was no easy
No,
format,
I understand that.
but it was about
When you said
20,000
it,
formula
Tony,
changes that were
I'm
going
gonna do
yeah.
that. And it will take some time.
The other problem is we've got some numbers are small.
Yeah.
And
See that.
in certain years they might be inconsequential, but they're not zeros.
Oh.
But anyway, those are just little things that crop up. Believe me, I wouldn't want these numbers this big either, or this.
Okay. So after I changed this to 1.5 million per operating,
What page are we on?
Wait a minute.
page 4,
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
summary 1.
Page 4 of this page.
Yeah.
Let's make it sure, please.
Tim, we're using this just to show this one thing.
Yes.
It might be easier if everybody just looks at the screen instead of trying to find,
It's good for me
you
because I'm right on top of it.
So once I change that to 1.5, for me to change that to 1.5 million, I need to transfer money to the reserves.
Mm.
So when I transfer money to reserves, it shows up as negatives.
Oh,
Once I saw that me and Mike had a conversation that this maybe is not telling the full story.
mhm.
So with that conversation, we think that we're going to either change this first summary sheet to add the full flow of the cash to show what's in reserves, what went to reserves, the ending balance, or another sheet to break down to show that full movement. So
So that you don't have the negatives.
you don't have to go to this other tab to see it of what's happening. You have to go to this tab, reserves 2.
Yeah.
On reserves 2, this is formulated
Mhm.
to say what is in the reserve versus what our policy says we need. So it finds that difference, and then we have 5 years to make it whole. So if we need more money, it is pulling from that summary 1 sheet. If we have too much money, it is giving it back to that summary 1 sheet.
Mm.
So that is another movement you're not seeing.
So really,
So you would have to know to go to this page that it correlates.
well, how do you relate this to someone who doesn't understand
Well,
this?
Can we go to summary
Yeah.
1 first?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Kim.
So then that is what the model is saying that we need to do. So then I have to do a manual entry to say what actually happened in the reserves. So this is the discretionary reserve change. And this is where I adjust it to make operating's account 1.5 million.
What's your strategy to adjust those? I mean, what are you
I have
basing
to
that?
actually hard code it in.
Yeah, but, okay.
But
How are you arriving at that number?
So in summary 1, all the cash flows are coming in here.
Right.
okay,
So I'm seeing what the balance is versus what I actually want.
Oh, thank you.
So that's I actually do like whatever the amount minus what I want. I want 1.023 million for electric. which I already adjusted, and it was originally the 3 million. So I need to move an additional $2 million
To make justify.
to the reserve.
There's a couple different ways to look at this. That maybe one way that might make it helpful is that this organization throws out cash at the bottom. And that cash sits in potentially a couple of places. One of them is the bank account at Fulton.
Mhm.
And when you look at the word up there on line 41, it says ending cash
Mhm.
and equivalent balance. So that would include your bank account at Fulton. But you also have a money market at UBS,
Mhm.
which is not part of the reserves. It's a separate liquidity account.
It's not in this.
That actually is what, see where it says cash and equivalent? That's cash and cash equivalent. The cash equivalent is the money market at this time at UBS.
Mhm.
So the way Kim
Well,
fed this through right now,
Say that again.
the way, what's that?
Okay, wait, I'll wait to see.
Okay, the way Kim put this through, this thing is only capturing the cash right now that's at Fulton Bank.
Oh,
Which
okay.
is what our audit.
But it needs to
Yes.
capture the cash at Fulton and the money market at UBS.
Yes.
It's a very easy tweak on here to do. What she's saying is she's moved money from Fulton Bank, or is going to move money from Fulton Bank over to the money market at
Mhm.
UBS.
Mhm.
But it looks like because it's not capturing that money market number
Oh,
in this, it's making the cash look lower than it really is.
Right, gotcha.
So it's
Even
really
though
that,
it's-
it's really that simple. And we'll have this so that when you see that number, it's going to include the Fulton Bank and the money market at UBS.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
So right
So-
now
so
in
what you're doing-
reserves,
So you're now defining cash equivalent, just as cash?
So there's a technical definition for cash and cash equivalent, but a money market would fall under a cash equivalent from an accounting standard.
Go back to the wording. Okay, but you have it ending cash and cash equivalent. Okay.
Yeah.
And you have the other one, chart change. I thought you said that the money market was up on the line 34 to 37, is that right?
No, the money market is actually at UBS. So it turns out that the way Kim made the adjustment, it's showing up in reserves, but it really is a cash equivalent.
yeah, it's a liquidity account. So that will be a change in audit as well for when we work on that next year,
So that
Well-
I'll show it.
next month, really.
Kim, I think you're saying this, but I just want to be clear because I feel pretty strongly about this, that this ending cash and cash equivalent balance needs to include for 2027 and 2026 needs to include the liquidity bucket that's at UBS. So there's going to have to be an update on this,
Okay.
which
That
you will all
reflect both of
approve, that will have both combined,
Yeah.
which is the way it should be from an
Right.
That would
accounting
make
standard.
sense.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're separating this.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But you also have to think, we're getting into definitions now. They're going to be very important because we're going to have to review this at a later meeting.
Mhm.
You actually have multiple pools of funds. You've got a bank account. That's a pool of funds that are available. You've got a money market at UBS. That's another pool that's available. And you've got this thing called reserves.
Mhm.
And each one of the utilities has its own reserve. And each one of the utility not only has its own reserve, but it has its own capital reserve and its own operating reserve. So it gets kind of complicated. But the reserve pool,
Main one.
the big reserve pool,
Right.
UBS, that's overseen by our investment policy statement. And so we're going to have to review that at one point, but that gives direction to UBS about how they manage that money.
Mhm, mhm.
The bank account's the bank account.
It is what it
It
is.
is what it is.
Mhm.
And the money market is a money market.
Right, exactly.
So, but combined, the reserves plus the money market plus the bank account are really your big pool of money available.
Mhm.
Some of it's restricted. The stuff we call reserves is restricted.
Mhm.
It's got policies around it. The money market and the bank account are not restricted. You
That's
can
right.
use them to hire a new person or buy a new truck and you don't have to,
Right.
But this thing, line 25 on here, the ending cash and cash equivalent has got to include the bank account and the money market.
Well,
And right now, that's
real
the bank
number.
account. Yeah.
Yes.
And that will match the audit for 26 and 27 because we're also making that change
Okay.
now
so
that we
it-
have the liquidity account separated
Uh-huh.
from the reserve account.
Okay.
Just,
So-
Okay. Okay.
refresh my memory here, it's restricted because of the grants have specific,
Restricted is the impact fees that we have to use for capital projects or capital related. We can use it for capital, debt payments too.
so impact fees, okay.
Mhm.
Are grants have any limitations?
They have to be used for that project, but we don't,
Do you said
we get reimbursed for that.
Was that restricted to, restricted by it?
So we pay for the expense already and then they pay us.
Reimbursed.
So we don't have to keep it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Understand.
So it's not restricted, I mean, it's not grants.
But there is a restriction in a way. If you can think about your own personal life, you've got, let's say, a bank account. And maybe you have some money in a money market fund, just go to Vanguard to set up a money market fund. But you also may have, let's say, a college account for your kids. I mean, maybe you can raid that if you need to, but it's sort of a pool of money that's sort of, so they're not quite all equal.
No,
So the reserves, as one of those pools, you can sort of look at that reserves like the bank, like the college fund. The reserves actually have a formula under how much is supposed to be in there and what that's supposed to be used for. So it's restricted in I look at it in that sense.
I agree.
Whereas the money market and the bank
You
account
can
are.
do whatever you
are
want to do with
unrestricted.
it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I got you. Thanks.
So, once we go into reserves too, and you see that I moved $220,000 to stormwater, it's now trying to give us back money from the reserve to the operating. And that's why it's no longer negative because I moved so much money.
Oh, I see.
So we can keep it at that 3, 6, and 12
Yeah.
for the stormwater annual fees.
But you know.
The interesting thing here is the framework takes the reserve policy and it looks at that as an obligation of the organization. You have a policy that says you need this much in your operating reserve for the electric utility or this much for the capital reserve in the water treatment plant. So you have an obligation just like any other obligation. And the model will
Maintain.
take cash flow and put it towards that obligation. But if you have too much for the obligation, if you need $1 million, but you put 2 million in,
Mhm.
it wants to throw it back out into that general cash pool again. So it's a dynamic system.
Mhm.
But it's
So
all set by policy.
with that, we will have a total of about $20 million in investments between the liquidity account at UBS and the reserve account at UBS.
Say that again slow. You have 20 million what?
Between the liquidity account and the reserve account at
At-
UBS.
At UBS.
Yeah.
And where
Plus
do I find that
1.5.
number?
Right here. So
I don't see 20 anything.
so that 6.148 million is for capital,
You got
and
to
that
add.
14 million is for operating. So it'll be a total of $20 million.
Yeah.
And Kim, just so people get familiar more with the package, could we just take them to it might be easier to kind of see it on here.
Yeah, pretty good. Because I've got my email here. Can you scroll up here to the cash from operating? Is this the summary flow? No, this is not reserve. I'm sorry.
This is the reserve. Oh, you want the summary? Yes.
Yeah, that top line, the proposed budget there on 2027.
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming that the summary of the cash flow from operating activities, from investment activities, from financing activities.
Say that again?
I said that summary of summary 1, is that not, because I'm reconciling this, cash flows from operating activities, from investment
Yeah.
activities, from,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay,
It's from the next 3 pages.
and then that doesn't reconcile here. I couldn't reconcile, for whatever reason, the proposed budget for operating activities. I did for all the others.
Are you subtracting out the hold on, let me zoom out of here.
It'll reconcile. Just follow the formula.
But is your comment,
It'll reconcile.
Calvin, is your comment based on the prior?
It shouldn't change. Yeah, it shouldn't change. It's just formulas are there. I mean, whatever, if there's a,
We're subtracting out the change in operating reserve. That means that money went to the reserve. If it's positive.
I think it's fucking an old version. No.
So it's
You know what?
These two numbers-
Let me go through this separately because it doesn't reconcile. I'm just questioning whether or not if I'm missing something here or if there is a.
so here's the formula
I'm pretty
Here.
confused too.
that it's the first.
Well, no. Don't walk
It's-
away confused, it's getting crap in you.
It's the first section and second section added together. The third section gets subtracted out. And then the fourth section gets added in.
Yeah.
So we're adding,
Not at all.
Okay,
Adding-
look, I don't wanna, I've kind of been through the numbers a lot. This stuff, we can get bogged down through that.
Yeah.
Negatives and positives. I will sit down with you or Kim can sit down with you and we'll reconcile it.
Yeah.
But we've been through this, they'll reconcile.
Yeah.
You just have to follow the formula.
Yeah, I just.
Bob, can I take you to page 9 on the actual, Bob? Take you to page 9 on the package. I'm still old school. I find it hard to go through the screen. I think it's important to keep emphasizing that almost every finance discussion we can have now in this group can go back to the model. So the more familiar you are with the model, the easier it is to go through this. Bob, if you look at page 9, that's our reserves. And what you'll notice is all the way to the left, we have two major banks of reserves. We have operating reserves and we have capital reserves. Both of those have formulas that determine how those are calculated. If you look at, if I take you down to line number 15, see down the left-hand side, number 15, and you go across to that gray area, it says 2006 projected year end. You see that title at the top of the gray column? If you go down to line number 15, it's $14 million.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got $14 million in aggregate in operating reserves. We also broke them out by utility if you want to see, how they look, but it's important that 14 million is important. Now, capital reserves, if you go down to line 30, that's the total ending capital reserves. You'll see that at the bottom, it's 6 million. And that's the 14 million plus the 6 million is the 20 million.
so when we modeled it, we kept it separate because it seemed important in that policy that they were broken up.
Did you follow that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I
Okay,
mean,
good. No, seriously, just want to make sure. Because it's difficult to move forward if you're not, if there's anything that's got you stuck, you gotta get out of the stuck area. And if something feels uncomfortable, one way or the other, we either explain it now or somebody explains it with you.
Are you hung up on the fact that it's not totaled anywhere between the operating and the reserve?
well, I'm not hung up.
Which we do want to,
I'm not really hung up on the model. It's sort of, why are we doing stuff?
what stuff?
Well, I mean, so you got a lot of money.
Mhm.
Okay, and then you look out here and say, well, in 2037, you'll still have money. So as a board member, we said, okay,
Yeah, so for this coming fiscal year, we're gonna do our cost of service study with a 5-year rate projection. But before they can give us an accurate 5-year rate projection, along with us creating accurate to compare them, we also need to redo our reserve, cash reserve policy to know how much money we actually need in that pool.
Wait, but Bob is asking the right question.
Yeah.
And the model's designed to answer your question. What it's really going to tell you is with the policies you have in place today, this is how much cash you're expected to generate and build up over
yeah,
time.
I understood that.
That doesn't mean, this doesn't say that that's how much cash you should have. It just says this is the trajectory that you're on with the path that you've set.
Best guess.
It's up to the board to determine, well, we don't want 30 million in cash in building up over time. Maybe we only want 5 million. And then you've got ways to deal with that. One way to deal with that is you might say, well, we're not going to raise as much debt to fund. We have plenty of cash. We have internal funds available. We don't have to raise debt, as much debt to fund capital projects. Another thing to do would be to say, well, we'll raise all that debt, but we're going to lower our fees or lower our, energy costs and things like that. But the model now gives you the tools to play around with.
Yeah, I understand it does that. I don't understand how it moves from place to place, but Kim Smith made it a spreadsheet, so I will get smarter. I mean, my only real question is how much of the $40 million is in here? For the sewage treatment thing with.
It's all in the 3 million. Oh, no, let's go there, Bob.
I don't need to go there. I will find it.
So right here, that 3 million one-time payment, and then we start the quarterly payments totaling almost $2.6 million a year.
So
So to build a,
So it's going through. That expense is being accounted for to pay.
Okay.
And that is why, actually, on that page 4, you can see that we start going cash negative because I don't show any rate adjustments to make up for that extra money coming out. So you can see.
Yeah.
That we need to
So
start
that-
doing rate adjustments to make
that
up.
shows me what
Yep.
I need to know.
Yep. So, what I'm looking for is a recommendation for the presentation of the budget to the board as presented with possible changes to the operating account balance, but the actual rates won't change. It'll just change a little bit on the front end. And redoing or adding the knowing that we're going to redo or add to the summary sheets to show the full cash movement to reflect the full story of what's happening.
In that last sentence is a future modification to what's being presented. Am I understanding that correctly?
So we're gonna break this down further, yes, to show all the accounts.
But come the end of this month for the recommendation for the 2007 and budget, which is for 5 years, including 2007, 27. That's what's being presented on these documents to the board
This document needs to be modified before it goes to the
before it
board.
goes forward,
Yes,
to include that last sentence.
that's right.
If you're, okay,
And
That's right.
fine.
the O&M is just that 1 year. And the capital budget is the 5 years
Okay,
for board approval. And the information of all the cash flows and everything is correct in here. It's just where we need to present it differently to show the full story.
So what's going to happen is that summary page is going to show more cash than what this is showing right now. Those cash and cash equivalents are going to all jump up.
okay. And are we presenting pages 4 to 8 for operating and 47 to 50 for capital?
Yes,
And that's the presentation,
yes,
which will have already been adjusted for the conversation and clarifications
and
here, plus anything else you might happen to pick up if you didn't notice.
this.
Okay.
Don't jinx me that I'm gonna have more changes.
No,
But-
you're in the best
Yeah.
position to, wait a minute, I see something now.
Yeah.
And, it's big or it's little, I can't imagine it's big.
Mhm.
It's just, you will note that, that's all.
Yes.
But it's
Okay.
not this being presented to the board. They've already, it's been presented and it's been accepted as a tool
Yes.
for staff.
Yes. I already met with Tom and Barbara, and then press will be next week.
she just answered it for. I was just curious
So-
to ask.
So with that recommendation, either we can do that knowing that we're gonna change it, or I can email it back out with the change. Can we do like an email approval? I don't know.
So,
It,
No, because that would violate FOIA.
yeah. So I would have to, so we would have to approve it and then I would send it out in the email for everyone to view with it already approved. Or we'd have to have another meeting before the board meeting in a week and a half.
what exactly are we changing to approve?
The summary sheets to show the full cash.
You would like to have
But
an
currently,
approval at this meeting of the budget,
right,
so we
Yes,
can send that forward.
yes.
Now, I think we could get that from this group for the 2027 and beyond. But the board could approve something that was not precisely that, with some additions, like we decide to put that, Robin woke up and decided to put that project manager in for the full year because Mrs. Wright walked in, or, call it minor changes, and the board could accept those changes to the model approved by the finance committee, and that might be a way to do this.
isn't this a snapshot?
Exactly right.
No, it's not.
No, for budget purposes.
No, it's not. You have to be very careful with these types of things. This model is a what-if model. It's a budgeting model.
It's a different.
But when we walk out of here and approve a budget, that line item, that column, those columns are frozen now for the
Yes,
rest of the
exactly.
year.
Yeah, they're reasonable.
So it's not, so what Kim is trying to say is we've got to get that cash and equivalent. Right now, it's showing up in two places in the model. We got to get it all into one place. So those summary sheets, that column is going to change. And what she's trying to do is get approval for that adjustment. The model in its entirety, all that money's here. It's just getting it all in one place. And
Mhm.
I strongly believe we've got to have that. Now, if we could do a quick call, maybe, we can make, we can make the change needed for this discussion very, very quickly. But the question is about getting the approval for that.
The question is giving them the right information.
Well, it would be the right information, but my point is, once this goes to the board, I think for budgeting, we want that budget column frozen in time. We want to get that
Absolutely.
approved.
It has to be, that's a
Absolutely.
standard.
Absolutely.
Any changes for that, just a variance.
Absolutely.
Why couldn't we just make that change now and we look at why do we have to wait? I don't understand. Why do we have to wait later? If you can make the change now, we see it. Aren't we done?
It would be changing around a few different tabs.
Well, what you could do is go into the discretionary and zero out all the changes
Uh-huh.
that weren't needed to hit the reserve. Whatever we needed to do for, I'm sorry, you would actually you would zero out all the discretionary.
Yes.
And that would
But then-
immediately put,
But then we would have to bring that balance to the front too and take it out of the reserves.
I think it'll automatically come out if you zero out discretionary.
Yeah,
It'll automatically rebalance.
but it's more than what is being transferred. The balance of the liquidity account is more than what's being transferred this year.
Was there some other stuff in it?
Yeah, it's gonna be a total of $10 million.
Well, that's a cash and a cash equivalent though.
Yeah.
So it's okay that it's not it's not a reserve, so it shouldn't be on the reserve page.
Correct.
So if we zero out the discretionary,
We should be able to use it.
So if I zero out, that's only the 8.4 million.
for,
And we're gonna have about 10 million in there. So then I have to go through here
Uh,
to figure out what's in the reserve account and what's in the liquidity account.
all right, well, maybe the short answer then is you can't do it at this meeting.
Yes,
But
I get that.
just make sure we get it done right, but.
Yeah.
But is all the information in this issue
Yes,
now. It's just not in
The format.
yes,
the way we want to have it presented.
Yes.
yes.
If you make these changes, how much is this gonna change?
So the front sheet is going to reflect another $10 million. That's in a liquidity account with UBS. Instead of just
Because it doesn't
what's in
have
the
it up.
checking account with Fulton.
Okay, but that's just like adding some different lines.
Yeah, but you have to
Yeah.
justify how,
Could
where
we-
it is.
Could we approve the budget subject to understanding those changes?
Yes, that's what I'm looking for. Unless you guys are uncomfortable doing that, then we'll have to have a meeting between now and
I'm
another
not
week and a half.
uncomfortable with
Yeah,
it.
I think we know what's going on.
I do.
I think we understand,
Let's
you know,
speak for anybody
how you're
else,
shifting
but
money,
I
right?
know what you're talking
And,
about.
you know, subject to exactly what we talked about here. I'm okay with approving this budget.
Yes, so am I.
I think so. I mean, if you decide to present that to the board in a different format, that's, you know,
Yeah, I don't,
that's not really
The sub,
something that we need
the
a special meeting.
substance, yeah, the substance is not gonna change.
and what presented to the board, right, it's just gonna be, you're not presenting 28 to 37, right, just you're stopping at 27.
So they're actually getting these summary pages. They're getting the full summary pages.
Sorry, page all the way to
Yeah.
2037?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Really,
So-
not
why are
overkill,
we doing that?
Why not?
because they, you know what, if, I can remember the last conversation we had, you're spending time with individuals for clarity. Right now, you met with various,
I think for somebody running a business, understanding
Yes.
the 10-year
okay.
picture is.
I've already met with
is,
Tom
really
and Barbara, which is our president and vice
The
president.
board has always, they're going to approve a 5-year budget, so at the minimum, they have to have at least 5. But they've also always seen a 10-year budget, they don't approve it, but they've always seen a 10-year budget.
You can't run a business like this on 1 year.
So then-
You gotta.
Next
No,
week I'm
no,
meeting
that's what I
with
said.
Kretz.
Or
And
actually,
then these are my other two.
27,
Yeah, because that was the
No,
last
that's
meeting we
everything
had.
else.
The last meeting we had, that you were gonna meet with all of the.
Yes.
And so you're doing that.
I've already met with two. I got
Okay,
one.
so are you giving them the full spreadsheet when you talk with them?
Yes,
So it's not gonna be foreign to them when we can.
yeah, I am showing the whole model
Fine,
for them to walk through.
fine.
With Tom and Barbara, it took about an hour and 40 minutes
Okay.
of going through.
Was there questions and interactions?
Yes.
I started to say.
Yep. And
Okay.
there was conversations of
They were good.
items that I want to talk about later too with the cost of service studies, like in city and out of city,
All right, who do you still have to meet with? You met with
just
everyone?
press,
Okay,
press lane.
okay. Okay, well, he's not stranger to this.
No,
Okay.
he is not.
No, not at all.
No.
Okay. Okay, well, I know where I am.
So what are we agreeing on?
A recommendation for approving the fiscal year 2027 budget and the capital projects for 5 years, because that's going to be presented to the board for them to approve. With the note of changing the summary sheet to include
There,
a liquidity account at UBS.
Which we've just discussed and demonstrated.
so that they have the true numbers.
Yeah, I don't think you even need that last. You just,
Well,
you can change the summary sheet as long as it's all in there. If you want to, that's fine. I think you should change the summary sheet.
Mhm.
I don't think it needs to be part of the motion, as you said.
well, she can
Because
change it.
you're approving the budget to go forward.
But you're also approving what she requested, which is to have everything, give them everything.
Yeah, I would be more comfortable with
So
that
would I.
included because
Mhm.
the model
would too,
was approved by the
absolutely.
finance committee
Sure.
as it was, and now it's gonna be a change.
Yeah, we gotta go with that. We do, yeah.
But we've talked about and agree with the change would be helpful
Mhm.
and more insightful,
Mhm.
informative of how it all works and it's in a form that will be now subsequently quarterly reproduced. No more changes till next year when we go over the budget again.
Well, as we work with it more, obviously, you
Right.
start seeing some things that are
Because,
happening.
and because it is also a tool. And this is the snapshot, if you will, that we have now, and so I think we can approve it on that basis.
Well, we then need to have language that includes what our motion is, so that everybody's on the same sheet of music. So say it in such a way that we've included the UBS number, so that it doesn't come across as a surprise later on. I mean, you can't just give them this and say, okay, and then we're going to adjust the UBS. That worked for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So the motion would be to move forward with what we've discussed, with the understanding that you would adjust the UBS so that they're fully aware of it.
Yes.
That's
That
my
will-
motion.
And
That is a
will be-
motion.
That is my motion.
And that's what will be presented to the board,
Mm-hmm.
is this revised from what today, a little bit of a tweak in the, between now and board meeting time.
Okay,
So I'm going back. I'm making that motion
Mhm.
that I just discussed.
I need just a second.
You need a second.
Approve.
All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
good. I hate to sound like I'm.
Any opposed?
You know, Bob raised an issue earlier on, which is something maybe at some point we should grapple with, but what we're doing here is modeling the trajectory as we are right now, as we best see it. But what if, throw out a BS number here, what if we had a $20 million big cash pool?
Mm-hmm.
Does this group go the next step and start to say, well, we think we should be looking at rates, or we should be reducing debt? In other words, what do you do now?
What's next?
Yeah, this is the numbers we see. I think we would all say, if we saw big negative numbers, we would
Make
go to the
some
board and say, hey,
adjustment.
we got an issue coming. that we need
Absolutely.
to-" But the
But that's
question
what
is,
the
does
monitoring process is.
exactly, but does the finance committee, does it simply just present things as they are? Or does the finance committee try to go the next step and say, look, here's some issues that we see, and here's some recommendations that we have?
Next step.
I say you have to stay ahead of it.
Yeah.
You have to, numbers enough finance. You have to stay ahead of it.
Especially what happens after the 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going back to page 5, actually, on the,
Page 5.
sorry, but yeah.
You're
it's
okay.
fine.
Yep.
I'll shoot with
Get that.
focus on the change in operating revenues.
Okay, where are you?
All of a sudden, we have a negative for the proposed budget, and negative going out 10 years. Well, why is that? I mean, we see the positives going in there, and all of a sudden, we just zero it out.
So I zeroed that out to show the actual cash flows in summary 1
But
that you can see.
there's a bunch of negatives there, right?
Yep.
And but prior to 3 years is positive, and all of a sudden it's negative and continued negative. It's
So
there's a lot of outgoing.
Because it's giving us more money.
We have a lot more expenditures.
The reserve is already filled according to our policy, and now it's giving us money.
Forever.
Forever. So unless we change the policy, which we need to review it, I don't know what will come of the discussions. It will try to keep giving us money because we're over it. And it's saying that we have too much cash according to our policy. And then that's when we make the discussion of, do we decrease rates? Do we take less debt?
Well, we're just increasing rates.
Or is it we accelerate other projects?
There's so many different options.
Believe me,
Yeah.
capital expenditures will be.
Yeah.
High enough where you don't have to worry about having
So,
reserves.
Calvin, there's a formula that underlies both the operating reserves and the capital reserves. It's in a policy. And every year that formula changes. The formula doesn't change, the inputs do. The size of the business changes, that affects, the size of the reserve and things like that. And so what you're seeing with positive flows and negative flows is how those numbers are sort of changing throughout the years. And on years where the reserve policy is asking for more reserves, you're going to see it want to pull cash and put it into the reserve portfolio. At times where it says you need less reserves, it's going to put that cash back out into the system. So there, it's a constantly variable thing, and you can kind of walk through, and Kim or I can walk you through that if you want to see how that actually works. But it's a living, dynamic, you know, yeah.
Yeah, that is really cool.
It's a holistic view of picking up this financials. I get it.
Yeah. Look, I mean, you know, I look at this, having Kim and I have spent hundreds of hours putting this together, and you learn as you see this thing living. But I can only imagine what you guys have to go through, seeing it every once in a blue moon, and then trying to get your head wrapped around it. It's going to take a little while. That's why when I make comments, I like to take people to the model to kind of get you kind of looking at it and thinking about these line numbers. But it's going to take a little while to absorb this. It's a lot.
Well, and going forward, there's all kinds of changes that can happen to us. Different regulations, different.
Yeah, I think we do need to get more comfortable with the model, but it's just a question of how we do that as a committee here.
Yeah.
Doesn't follow through on their
ourselves and playing around with it, tweaking it for the numbers in, or
The agreement.
doing whatever we need to do.
Well, and the suggestion I would have is, you've written down a lot of notes, and you have some things. This is probably not the right forum to discuss this, but I'd be happy to sit
Somewhat under
down
our
with you and go
control.
through all those if you want to.
I think as a committee, we don't say
storm.
Well, I do, but your problems are going to be different than Richard's and
Absolutely.
Bob's, and we're never going to solve everybody's
No, and different from mine.
and different from Carolyn's. So what I'm
Mhm.
suggesting is we could go one-on-one for yours as part of kind of a training or getting familiar with this system.
You know, one thing I thought was pretty helpful too, and I don't know, the policy market, this is pretty good. Why isn't this going to the board too? Because when I looked at this, I thought this is pretty cool. What did I think about?
I mean, we can make that suggestion. You can make the suggestion and we can,
Because there was a lot of stuff here that.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
that wasn't reserved, yes?
Yeah, because it's like you're out of policy, right? Oh, non-discretionary. If you see a bunch of red, that means we got an issue. What page are we talking? Page 10.
That exciting you have for that one page? I got it for every one of the pages. They're all good.
Here we go.
Nah.
I think that
Policy.
with the one-on-one meetings with each board member, they are seeing that page.
Yes.
And I think the idea is, as we move through the model, as the committee sees an issue with that page, that's when we would take it to the board and say, hey, we noticed that we were somewhere out of policy. This page demonstrates it, and that would come at the time that we had some kind of concern about it. Is that? Yeah.
Introducing them.
You probably meant page 13.
He's on page 10. To show
Page 13.
what our actual,
Quick.
Was it 13 of?
yeah, 13 is kind of the same information.
The subtitle is policy monitor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is it.
This says, this is what you have.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is what you should
I'm
have,
sorry.
and this is where you're, yeah.
Yeah, 13 is where I have. I see what, for example, on line 14 says stormwater. I'm like, you're out of policy. My first question, what policy is this? Because we're at a negative, right? 134,000. We're out of policy.
Yep.
What policy?
So
So
that
each
one is
model, every,
the one, but-
there's a reserve policy for operating reserve and capital reserve. So if you go back to page, this is a good learning moment. If you go back to page 11. Sorry, Kim,
You're good. That's good.
you go to page 11, this is how the operating reserves are calculated. Well,
Oh,
the
yeah.
policy says, first
14.
off, I'm sorry, page 11.
Oh, no, I'm looking at, we'll crank up the line here. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so if you look at it has four major blocks. One of them is called reserves covering expenses. So there's a portion of reserves you have to hold for each utility that's 25% of the overall expenses of that utility.
Right.
So
Yeah.
what we have on lines 1 through 5 is the size of the expenses of the utilities. What we have on lines 6 through 9 are the percentages that you have to hold.
Right.
And what you have on lines 10 through 14 are the sum of the multiplication of those two. But there's another component that goes into operating reserves, and that's reserves covering the historical asset base of the organization. conceptually, I think what they're trying to do there is to say, if you've got a huge asset base, there's a possibility for a pipe to blow up underneath the canal and things like that. So they want you to hold 2% of the historical asset base of the organization. That's on lines 20 through 23.
Mhm.
If you go down to lines 29 through 33, they also want you to hold reserves, operating reserves for the deductible and the insurance.
Mhm.
And if you look at lines 34 through 43, they also want you to self-insure for $1 million. This is what the policy says. So you add all those up, and that goes over to page 14. 14, policy monitor, I'm sorry, 13. Where if you go to page 13 and you look at lines 6 through 10, that's the amount of reserves you should have for operations, required by policy.
We're short 134,000.
In some of these, at some points, and sometimes we're over. And, yeah.
So that is the old one that you're looking at.
This is really cool.
So which
Yeah,
budget?
it's
This make it positive?
I moved that $8 million.
Perfect.
It's
Oh,
the
on the
entire
front sheet.
financial architecture of the firm.
So this is actually,
And we usually
I think this is
one of the old.
Yeah.
Well,
Spreadsheet.
Well, that's the thing, because now you tweak a number here and it feeds through all
I
over,
got it.
yeah.
I think this,
Thank you.
I think this policy monitor is a good thing to have, because I think it triggers the initiated here, the board, for these two, about, hey, you know what, there's a potential violation of policy. And this is the reminder of that violation, so someone can speak to it. And now what are you doing to correct it? So I think this should go to the board as well.
By the way, this allows us to go to even another step.
Oh, wait a minute, I mean, are we okay with that?
Do we need to, I'm a
Introduction.
little bit concerned at this particular moment of too much information,
No,
At
I know
once.
exactly what you're talking about.
but after the board approves the budget into April,
That's
and
when
we can introduce, we'd like to make a presentation of the policy aspect in our tool that allows more information, insight into how powerful a tool is and how it mirrors, for better or for worse, policy issues.
I hear you. I just think this is a 2-minute conversation at most. But you know, I think this is a good thing to have. And
20 minutes later.
So at the same time, talk about the budget. I think this is great. We talk about this a lot about violations of policy.
But I would say too, one of the things that's really important, first off, this is a coherent structure to follow policies, which is very hard to do if you don't have a structure around it. You're running one-off sort of sheets, and it's not part of the whole ecosystem, so to speak. But Kim and I have spent time, we've modeled the finances of the organization as they are, not necessarily as they should be. So one of the things Kim and I are going to do is sit down in our next couple of weeks, and we're going to talk about these reserve policies. Do they make sense? Should we be thinking about them in a different way? But this will now allow us to come back with maybe some suggestions.
Anything else on this topic at the moment? What about the charts? Did we go over?
that's number 5.
Okay.
Or back to the gentleman.
it's well done. Where am I, Richard? Guidance. Which one? This one, okay, thank you. Oh, no, that's fine.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
And there was a new. That's,
Right here.
this is the issue.
Just all one.
That's the old one.
Carolyn,
One
these are the new ones.
Just the.
Well, that one actually didn't change, it's just,
Now that one I have.
Yeah.
I don't want to be redundant.
and then this one changed a little bit.
So, right, I'm with you. This, I need both of these.
For
Yes.
number 5.
Right.
Okay, then I will just take what I have here and move it. So I get confused. Okay, I'm with you.
All right, so we had prior discussions about our operations account being a very large sum of money. And we talked about bringing that down into scope of what we actually need to operate. So I showed a few different methods to calculate the operating account. One is just based on the operation expenses, which is about 18 million per year. Another is operations and debt payments, which is about 19.6 million a year. And then the other one is full cash flows of the year, which is operations, debt, and capital, which is about 19.4 million. And this is for fiscal year 27. And from there, I showed what the amounts would be if we did 1 month worth, 1.5, or 2 months.
Are these payments equal throughout the year, or are they quarterly, or semi-annual, annual?
There is some bumpiness to it.
You wouldn't model that through the,
So like for our DMAC payments, they're generally higher January, February, July, August, September. And our debt payments, we have a big one in February and August. Okay.
So then you would account for that for.
Yep.
For purposes of where we put the money.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then I have some notes here at the bottom. The operations account with Fulton is classified as government, which means it's 100% backed. I would like to put that in quotations. Normal FDIC is 250,000. So if the bank goes under, we are then a creditor for their collateral. So if they do not have enough collateral to pay us back our full amount, we are still going to be out that money.
That's right.
But these are swept.
So-
I want to be very careful about some of this lingo. First off, I think they sweep it at night because they're paying interest on these checking accounts, and that is probably going in government security, so it's going to be 100%. But you are a creditor of Fulton, and these are only insured FDIC up to 250. FDIC does not insure any more than 250,000, and it doesn't matter that you're governor or not. So Kim's making the point that if Fulton goes under and they don't have enough collateral to cover, you're in a creditor pool.
I understand.
And everybody might think, well, that's very unusual, but banks do go under.
Yeah.
Some of us were in the investment field when Lehman went under, and that was a big problem.
I remember when savings went under.
Yeah, the whole savings
I was
bond
in
crisis. Yeah.
Mexico at the time I came home.
So what's the contract say actually with Fulton? And because if the bank goes under, the FDIC will look at the contract. It's all governed by the contract of the deposit agreement.
What?
What?
I said the bank goes under, and then you're looking at what's insured and what's not insured. It's based on the contract, deposit contract.
No, it's just the FDIC insures by type of account. So demand deposits, time deposits, savings.
But what's in the contract though? Is it swept every night?
I am not positive when they sweep and how much they sweep. But our account type is government, which I mean, I can ask for more specifications on how they move our money.
Because the FDIC is going to look at the contract. What's the deposit contract say for sheriff's purposes?
Yes.
The FDIC is just never insuring more than 250K.
But-
That's
Yeah, but it goes back to what the deposit contract says.
Well, how does that make a difference?
It doesn't bother the
Does it
FDIC
make
if
any
you're gonna insure up to 250. If you got
Right.
$1 million in there,
Right.
you're not getting the other 750.
That's the.
They're not going to look at it and say, well, oh, you had a different contract.
Right.
The FDIC just insures up to 250. I'll send you the doc if you want. I went through it yesterday in detail
No, that's
Yeah,
clear and
yeah.
concise.
on this.
I don't
All
know.
right, so what's the question? How much do you leave the Fulton Bank or not?
That's what Ken's trying.
Or how much do you put in
Well, that's
to
what she's
save a
telling.
place as you can
He's stealing that thunder here.
to
He always
get
does
through a
every
couple of
meeting.
months?
He's doing
Every
that.
meeting.
He's stealing the thunder. She hasn't finished. Finishing. He said you're stealing the thunder. He's
Every
trying
meeting
to
about
take
it.
you there. All right, so the point is, you will go.
You don't talk ahead of time. I just send you a nasty email and you write back, here are all the
He
answers
sends me an email the day of the meeting.
at 8 o'clock. Because I wrote it the night before.
At least he's consistent.
Well, I mean, I think there's ways to, to do this to make sure we're protected, but it's to make sure that when something sweet is swept, and usually in a government contract or something else, I mean, the bank sets up an account on the asset side, of its ledger, to reflect the fact that they're holding money in, for example, treasuries. And sometimes these things are pledged. They're going to be pledged, right? Pledged securities, for example, treasuries that they hold. And that notices actually go to the Federal Reserve. And then the customer will get a notice from the Federal Reserve saying that we have these pledged assets in case you go under.
Yeah, but the
What
way
is
the
that
way this
for
works
water?
is if they go under,
Yeah.
you're gonna be able to go to the FDIC and get 250,000 of your money. And outside of that, what Kim is saying is you're down in the creditor pool
Right.
with everybody else.
Yeah.
Look, that's the point.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah.
It doesn't make any difference.
So if we don't, so we went at this for two different reasons. One, we were trying to find a way to maybe get a little bit more return.
Right.
And we wanted to reduce our risk.
Right.
And the risk is there's no reason to leave $15 million in a bank account.
I understand that, but
Okay.
and we don't need that to the extent that there's our cash flow. That doesn't require that. All I'm saying is that as long as we understand that there's options out there, there are, they can pledge, security that they have. Fulton has securities, on the asset side, they have treasuries. They can pledge those to collateralize that particular deposit account.
Sure. Yep.
And those securities that are pledged, there's a notice that's sent to the Federal Reserve that's saying these are not Fulton's assets. These are the customer's assets.
Mhm. Yep.
And if you want the money, you have that. Yeah,
But if Fulton goes under, you will be in the
That's-
creditor pool, meaning you might be legally right. You also might not be getting your money for 6 months or whatever time it
That's
takes to adjudicate that.
That's the point. If they
And you don't have to take that risk. You got a government money market fund, so it's,
There's no guarantees here.
Yes, that's probably the preferred option.
yeah, and that's the recommendation.
So if we leave the smaller amounts in the operation, that will result in a higher interest yield when it goes to an investment, but more administrative time to make sure that we have enough money in doing transfers. And then, of course, the opposite happens with the higher operating balance. And transfers for the money market take between 1 to 3 business days, which is sufficient time for planned expenses, which is probably 99.9% of our expenses. Only if, an emergency happens, like a pipe breaks under the canal.
Like a bridge. It's already done.
A bigger organization would have a treasury group
Mhm.
that would be managing this stuff every day, doing repurchase agreements and all sorts of stuff. But, Kim's got 20 different hats she's wearing. And the question is, how do we sort of make this work in her time, but also reduce our risk and get maybe Kim, you can talk about the incremental return as well, but.
Yeah. So I would suggest the top operations of either 1 month or 1.5 month. I'm okay with either of those. So that's the pleasure of the committee
And that would be in what account again?
in our Fulton account to keep it at 1.5 million. Here we go. Thank you.
1.5.
Yeah.
2.2.
Yes.
So you want 2.2 million
One of those two amounts is whatever.
in the Fulton account
That's
for
what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
daily liquidity needs?
I would say the monthly average, because there will be some, like when we start getting all the bills in, it's going to spike up. And then, in the middle of the month, when we have $1 million payment to DMEC, it's going to shoot down.
I guess the question I would have is do we, is this a minimum
Is it minimum or maximum?
that you get and maybe it's both, not the numbers both, but maybe that's the way you think about it. So for example, if you said the board is willing to, the finance committee is willing to accept up to 4 million in a bank account. And you need at least, so you're not doing this every single day, you'd like to have at least 1.5 million, let's say. Maybe we set up a trigger that just, you put in 4 million it pays down to 1.5, you get this flag, and then you put it back up to 4 million, and it replenishes. And so you always are in that kind of band. Some months the trigger may happen a couple times in a month because you got a whole lot of cash flows, and other times you might go on for a couple months without getting hit. But maybe that's kind of maybe we do a min-max.
I love
Yeah.
that idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or-
And then it's just flagged.
that is a good idea.
It's not like on the 30th of every month, you go in and say, okay, we're almost out of money. I'm going to move some more. It's just kind of a,
or give Kim direction to keep it between that.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the,
Yeah, that's what we're doing now.
Sort of, we say 1.5 months is a reasonable number as a target, but Kim can go up to 3 or 3.5 or
Yeah.
4, and shouldn't let it drop below 1.5.
I mean, even between 1 month and 2 months of operations, that can be just because as the operation changes, from year to year,
Yeah.
that total is going to change.
and I mean, we're all saying the same thing. The wider that band, the less Kim's going to be flagged to move money around. And the narrower that band is, she's going to be on it a lot more frequently.
Can you move money by just going on the website or wiring money? How do you move money?
Yeah, it's wired.
You wire money? Okay, which is instantaneous.
But it's easier to keep track of if there's 1 a month rather than 5 a month.
So I should correct that. It's wiring if it's leaving operations. If it's coming from a liquidation account or a reserve account, I have to put in a request with the.
I think it technically, when she goes from the money market to the bank account, which you'll need to do for transaction purposes, I think it goes ACH, and it will take about 2 to 3 days to move. Maybe UBS, you can set up a wire. Vanguard, when I do it, it's a 3-day ACH.
So when it's leaving the operations account, it happens instantly.
Mhm.
When it's coming into the operations account, it'll take up to 3 days.
That's, really.
I understand why because it's not wired.
That it's coming from the investment account, so I actually have to put a request in.
They have to liquidate it
Yeah.
tonight.
And she may have you may also have the option on UBS to either ACH it, which is a 2 or 3 day, or wire it, but you're gonna have to pay a fee for the wire. So that's,
Depends on how much you have. You might waive it.
I've never been that lucky, but but the fee's usually inconsequential. I mean,
Like $20 or something.
yeah, something like that. I mean,
But you can always ask. You want like $5 million or whatever it is, waive my wires.
Kim, I wonder if you just, not for now, but if you went back and just ran a couple scenarios where one keeping, like, let's say 1 million to 4 million, or 1.5 to 3 or something, and just saw how many hits you would get, with
Do a test.
with expenses, just to see what it, are you doing it 10 times a month or 1 time every 2 months,
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I think you're like in the right area here. The question is what your band should be.
Okay.
And there's going to be seasonality, as you know, in your expenses and all that stuff. So maybe that might help understand that a little bit too.
How much? I'm
But
looking
you're
at
going to
this
want to
time.
do it with daily data.
Do you want to get a feel?
1 year is a daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to get a feel for it.
So it's $40 million flow going through the account throughout the year on the bond.
Yep.
So you have operating income coming through. How often do you actually have to pull from the investment account?
We've been transferring to the investment account.
Okay, so
This-
you're
this
never
fiscal
transferring
year.
from the investment.
Well, because they've been leaving a huge amount of money in the bank account.
Right.
Unacceptably large.
But that's
amounts.
the issue. That
Right, I
we
understand.
should,
I'm just trying to figure out.
So we haven't had to transfer money from the investment account to operating since 2023, maybe? Might have been 2024, but
So what are
yes,
we asking ourselves to do? We change the amount in this account to
the money that Fulton is holding is too much.
I think we all agree that there's
Period.
too much money in there.
Right.
So would the direction be to come back next meeting with that, with
The band.
That range.
generally this range and show how many movements I would have to make if it is that range?
But if you had a smaller, let's say from 1 to 2 even,
Okay,
if you needed more, you should be able to, it shouldn't be so inflexible. There should be an escape clause that with notice, because of a one-time emergency, or the seasonality, you can go above that for another million, or
target,
flexibility that maybe is like a third path
or,
rather than just between A and B.
or target $2 million in there and give you discretion to load up for anticipated in the next 45 days. Something like that.
Well, a variation of this could be, I think if Kim goes through and does the bands, she could cover 95% of, and then to your point, Richard, if there's a couple of exceptions, maybe there's a mechanism that Kim says, hey, this month I need to go to 6 million because of this, and there's some kind of but the idea here really is that you just don't, this thing isn't just creeping up and doing its own thing and it's taking on a life of its own.
I could go back to the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of probably the transactions is going to be nominal throughout the month. It's just that 20% of the time you're going to have these hits, right?
Yeah.
On certain months or maybe semi-annually where you have to pull more.
Yeah.
So just what is that 80% rule? And and that's where I think the way you want to keep that, what that dollar amount is there to cover those 80% of expenditures for the month. And that's going to be, like I said, I don't think it's going to be a high number. Just that you need to again pull once a month, once every 3 months, whatever, for those blips.
Okay, do we need a motion for that or just a note?
just direction
Okay.
that, come back next meeting and we'll have the window. Expenses.
The first task is to come back to the meeting.
Yeah. That is vital. And
The other piece of that was where should the money market reside?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
and also part of this discussion,
I'll keep my mouth shut. Sorry about that.
we were talking about money market accounts. I have 3 here. I did include Fulton because we have the operating account just to see where they would be at. They're at 3.29% for a government money market fund. UBS is who we already have. Treasury Institutional Fund, we're at 3.56. Our fee is 18 basis points. And I also looked at Vanguard, which is traditionally the most favorable. They are 9 points above UBS.
Lower fees.
Well, it's largely because of
It's
lower fees. Yeah.
netted that it'll be 9 basis points difference between the two. If we have $10 million in there, that is a difference of $9,000 a year. Is that worth the move from who we already have an established relationship to Vanguard, who we haven't dealt with? That's my question, and my suggestion would just to stay where we're at.
Because it's just one less
Relationship.
until proven otherwise.
Until maybe we review the reserve policy and we decide maybe we don't want our portfolio with UBS and we can just do all the moves.
Okay.
I think to me that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, me too.
Probably not worth a headache for 9,000.
Yeah,
Yes.
really.
But this will actually we'll be earning more on the money than it is in the bank account.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in a government only money market fund, so we're going to be losing, we're going to be reducing risk as well. This is, in my mind, this is a win-win. But the negative is it's going to require more cash management on Tim's side. But if we can come up with these bands, the appropriate band, that should be minimal, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with this discussion, in my head, I'm gonna change the model for summary 1. I'm gonna change that to 2 million because I think that's just thinking off the top of my head of knowing the expenses and how they flow. I think 2 million is probably gonna be close to midpoint for this.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what's gonna show to the board, and it still keeps this as positive.
Good.
I've already done it up to 3 million, and then it's like $7 for water. Okay,
So how you change it to my?
so I'm gonna go into this reserves and do that manual, Yeah. and then,
That's why see the machine in action.
yeah, I can do it. So, I'm just gonna do right here for that 500. You make that an 8. And
Yep.
enter. Oh, I went the wrong way, sorry.
Says that we're on.
Can you make that a 1? Thank you. So right there, it changes that 2 million. But it's not actually gonna stay that way because I need to distribute it to electric, water, wastewater. But that's how it flows through.
Thank you.
Can you change that back to 2-3?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
So if we move money out of Fulton, which
We will.
seems to be, it's going, where does that money go? Mutual? I mean, money market?
Yes. The Treasury Institutional Fund is the actual name of the money market that we have with UBS right now.
So it does go to UBS. Does that change their fee structure? Have a ripple effect that they've got more money?
So, interestingly enough, they did just change our fee amount for our reserve from 80 basis points to 75 because we are transferring more money to the money market account. So our total assets with them have increased.
Richard, you should know that UBS has 2 accounts for this organization. One of them is a reserve account, and that's overseen by our investment policy statement.
Okay.
And they're managing that with equities and all that stuff. They also have a liquidity account. And what's the name of that liquidity account? It's just a liquidity account. Okay. So you have a liquidity
They call
account.
it the friendly name of reserve account and liquidity account.
Liquidity account.
That's how
Now,
they have
liquidity
people.
account it's not overseen by the investment policy statement. It's not in equities. They're not actively managing it. It's just a money market strategy. Now, for the reserve account, the reason why this is important is in order to work within that investment policy statement, you actually pay an advisory fee of
Monitor it.
75 basis points.
75 basis points for every asset, every dollar that's under management there. As that grows, so does your fee to UBS. The liquidity account does not have an advisory overlay on it. They don't advise you, it's just money sitting in a money market account. So whatever assets go in that don't have that 75. But it is invested in a mutual fund, and that has 18 basis points or 0.18% fee that's embedded in that money market fund. So UBS will make 18 basis points more than we're getting paid because they take that extra little bit off. Does that make sense? So in the reserve portfolio, you're paying an advisory fee for them to do all the fancy stuff, but in the money market, you're not paying anything other than the mutual fund fee.
We're moving all the money from the advisory.
No, there's all the reserve money will still be in a reserve account that's overseen by the investment policy statement and will have an advisory fee.
Why?
Well,
Until
because
we
right now,
correct the policy.
until we change the policy, it's,
That's on the agenda.
that's on the
Next
agenda.
That was my suggestion.
So that's just temporary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other thing, I don't want to keep tooting the horn of the model. But what you can see now is we're starting to have richer as a committee, but we're going to have richer and richer dialogues about policies and things like that. And now we can more confidently or comfortably challenge some of the things that are in place and maybe ask ourselves, does that make sense? And so just a simple thing like a bank account and the size of the reserves and reserve formulas, that's all now we can start to discuss those as a group. Very hard to have, in my view, coherent discussion about this kind of stuff without some kind of a collective framework or systematic framework to have that. Yeah. And we haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. We're now starting to use it for budgeting. You know, at some
Like,
point,
so excited.
It's exciting. Leave it alone.
at some point, you move over to do what ifs and things like that. That's a whole nother use of this model, which we haven't even talked about yet, But, what if we do this or what if we don't do that or,
Amazing.
yeah.
And when we're done with this, are we all gonna get a diploma?
There'll be a test.
Get a
You know,
little
it's really-
training for,
Yeah.
I passed the model test.
Yeah, but I think it's coming out us to understand the inputs and how the inputs change the dynamics of the outputs. And understand what exactly the input. What are the variables that you actually, and is that the gray part you have here?
So the gray is what the current year that we're working in.
Okay, but.
I did the purple for,
Blue is the input variable.
Yep.
So, and they're on some pages, but not others.
So then we do that. I think we need to help. It would help us understand that.
so it's like these that are,
I mean, go back up to the top, Kim. If you notice, it says that blue is the input variable and the gray is the current budget. So
And then
wherever it's blue, that's a hard number that Kim puts in.
and then if it doesn't have that, then
Well,
what's the formula?
So how many input variables do you have here? Lots, thousands.
Yeah,
Don't say it.
Well, there are thousands because it's complicated. There's a rate structure. I mean, just in water alone, you got irrigation rates and potable water rates, and then you've got whether they're in city and out of city, and then it has to do with how big the pipe is versus, it's
the
I mean, there-
in the usage changes every year.
it's insanely complicated. I was shocked.
Water's a little bit easier than electric.
Okay, well,
It really-
I mean, that's why we have 50 pages. Look, these are all rates. I mean, it's incredibly, it's not complex mathematically. It's just,
Okay, so you actually laid in the rate tables here.
yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
And where I try to bunch stuff up, Kim said, I want to see it all broken down into all the details. So I said, all right, Kim, you're going to get it, but that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, we'll have conversations on the phone. I was like, do you want to set it up or do you? If you want to set it up, that'd be great. I have a few other things to do. And then he comes back, I'm like, Mike, I'd really like to see this.
I've been Kim's research assistant.
Well, I mean, the old time alternative was we sent this much on wages and we're gonna increase it 4%. And spent this much on some other thing and we're gonna increase that 5% because,
We've always done it this way.
Yeah.
so this is a generational change.
Yes.
But also some of those things that you're talking about are all independent little spreadsheets and things like that.
Yeah.
They don't interact in a systematic way because if you change the rate of expenditures on employees, it feeds into a lot of these other policies and eventually works its way out.
When you make this presentation like this and we have discussion over 5 years, 10 years, or just the current year, I mean, these numbers have to tell a story. Right? So when you present something like this with the board, actually, the three people, what's the story you're going to say? What do the numbers tell you? And it's a sea of numbers.
Yes.
galaxy of numbers here, but you gotta, what do you have, 2 minutes, 5 minutes to make this presentation, or whatever long you need?
Yeah, however long I need.
Yeah, I think you need, what did it say? You know, succinctly, what do these numbers say? It's like, they can understand that. We have with our certificate. 10 years is a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Yes. Kind of makes sense if you're thinking about putting something in the ground 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's gonna cost you $30 million, but what that is, but.
Well, the way we think about it is, every business has, I'll call them trains in the tunnel, so to speak. And you don't have a perfect, the farther out you go, the less sure you are about the future. But what you're trying to do is get the mental thinking about whether you may have a train coming down a tunnel. Maybe it's 3 years out, maybe it's 5 years out. But the longer you can identify, the earlier you can identify a coming problem, the more time you have to make adjustments. Sure. So there's a discipline by that 10 years.
And that's the story. What, it's here because of X, where the X is. Otherwise, it's gonna be 8 pages of numbers.
Move to item 6.
We still.
Oh, I thought we were.
It's just the schedule, the next.
Oh, it's.
I was gonna say,
come on.
Here we go. Not done again, Sharon. No,
Yeah, really.
You're being awful optimistic.
We get ready to leave you.
Having some fun.
So, my obvious one is the reserve policy
Yes.
for the next meeting. I feel like that might be a lengthy discussion. I don't know if,
Say that again, Ken.
I feel like that might be a lengthy discussion,
No, what's the reserve policy?
reserve policy
Mm,
of how much money we actually want to keep and the rationale of it.
mhm.
Bring up the magical chart here and let's
So,
talk about that.
yeah, of course, there can be suggestions to begin the discussion.
Want us to send you something?
Absolutely.
Always.
I laid out five things on the last meeting that were one of them I think we should grapple with, and it probably won't be done next time, but we should start talking about it, is our debt, how much debt we take on. I know we have rules about the maximum amount of, interest coverage ratio and things like that, but I think we've got a lot of cash going on here, and the question is whether that can minimize or reduce the amount of debt we take on for projects, or whether that would potentially entail a rate change. So I think that's really important, and that feeds into the whole structure of this model. I think to Kim's point, we should really start this discussion on, and probably is, as Kim said, more than one meeting, but start talking about these reserve policies. They are big, and whether they're actually the appropriate policies, necessary or scaled right. They were done a long time ago, and nobody that's in the organization today has any ownership of those. They're just, as Richard keeps saying, we're doing it because we've always done it, and there's a policy. But now we can look at it and think about it. What else? There's a couple other. I don't know how much notes.
Investment policy.
Can you just send us the homework assignment?
Investment policies, another one.
In an email?
Yeah.
Just tell us and give us the policies and tell us what our homework assignment is, and we'll come back prepared.
Richard, I guess we're gonna have to figure out the sequence of all these things. You're not gonna be able to do them all in one meeting.
No.
Sure. But right.
When would you like to come back, Richard?
I have it noted for a week of April 27th. Is everyone getting burnt out, or?
How's that related to that board meeting?
It is after the board meeting, after the April board meeting.
Because the board meeting's on 22nd.
Yes,
Yes.
the board meeting is early for April, and we're already scrambling to get the,
And you have
Packets
year
done.
ended.
I hate the 27th. Sorry.
I said week of.
Oh,
Week of,
okay.
Okay. So anytime between the 27th and May 1st.
Because you have a lot to do before the April board meeting. Is that the big one?
So whenever a month starts on a Wednesday, our meeting is,
It's earlier in the month.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's harder to get the packet all together.
It's the April board big
Wednesday.
meeting, big approval.
No, that's
March, the March meeting is a big one. But just most though.
And that's gonna be your year end. Right?
You're saying it's
That's
going to
gonna be-
be,
Yeah, the next finance committee meeting will be March numbers, yeah.
I mean, I just think that, you're
Just
gonna
too much,
be,
right? Okay, so.
here's
it's
what
supposed to
we
be the
did,
Yeah.
close this out. All that accounting stuff I don't understand.
So do we need to meet before the April meeting? Look at year-end financials.
We will not have March's financials done until the 22nd,
Day of the board meeting?
that's the Sunday.
or the 15th, sorry,
Uh,
when we have to have the packets ready.
So you're sending the package, the year-end package to the board without us looking at it?
That, it is not supposed to go to the board until after the finance committee looks at it. So it'll probably be a month delay for the board to look at it.
So you said the board's not to look at it until May?
May.
May,
The May board meeting,
Is which
they'll look at year end,
year end of 26?
yes,
Oh, okay.
after the finance committee.
Look, is
Yeah,
it already
okay,
plus the
I guess it's okay.
budget for
It's a
27?
2-month delay then. Maybe you're
Well,
right.
I mean, it would be possible to ask the board to move their meeting by a week if that would be tidy.
It still feels rushed to me to
Uh,
try to,
So,
And Mike really hates that.
okay, so without that, forget that. So during April, you closed March, and during May, you add up the whole year and get it right. Presumably so that it can be audited.
What's the implication of a 2-month delay to the year end with the board? Seems like a long time.
probably.
yeah, it's just the present.
So you want to see us in July? We're just trying to schedule a meeting.
And
What, how about,
We're doing
So-
quarterly financial.
how about we table actually selecting a date for the upcoming meeting? We'll get together with Richard.
Yeah.
Talk with him, see what he wants to do, what exactly we want to present to the board. That way we can,
See,
and then from that, we'll figure out what works best for this committee.
and then, yeah,
And then we'll go from there.
right,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay.
I just don't think you're gonna deal with it. We're gonna have up
Let
the
Richard
questions at
deal
year
with
end. It's not gonna be delayed everything, and you can be rushed as it is, so
Yeah.
April 22nd is almost impossible.
Yeah.
We're good, we'll let Richard deal with it.
Okay.
So we're looking,
I'm
So
good.
next week, Richard will figure it out. It's all
Yeah.
on you.
Yeah,
yeah, so we are,
no pressure.
we're looking, okay. And there's no downside to that, right? You know, shareholders or SEC up your back.
good, I won't put anything down.
Move to item 7?
Yeah.
Yes, I make a motion to adjourn.
Upset to over these numbers.
Second.
Kim.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.